Today on C+ News Time, we've got a special coming at you filled with all the shows that you didn't know you wanted to watch, and maybe a couple of duds too. The 2016 Upfronts happened last week and a bunch of your favorite shows were canceled, but a bunch of other shows were made into full series. Which ones fall into which category? Don't be afraid. Big Daddy Chatty is here to tell you what's what only on this, the C+ News Time Special Upfront Special 2016.
Welcome to the C+ News Time Upfront Special 2016, featuring this year's newest shows on your favorite networks. Now, here's your host, Chad White.
Welcome back to C+ News Time. I'm your host, Chad White, and this is the C+ News Time Special Upfront Special 2016. It's here you can find out which pilots made it to series, which networks gave up on which shows, and just who the heck that one guy in that one show is. You know, that guy. Oh God, what's his name? Anyway, let's get on with the Upfronts. Starting with ABC, the network had a field day in picking up and saying no to pilots. It also gave out some pretty safe renewals while shifting its power players' Tuesday night comedy schedule. Modern Family, The Middle, Blackish, Fresh Off the Boat, The Goldbergs, and The Real O'Neills were all renewed, as were Friday night's Indomitable, Dr. Ken, and Last Man Standing. But sadly, The Muppets was canceled even after the restructuring of the show. ABC did, however, pick up 4 new series, including Downward Dog, where Allison Tomlin stars with a dog who, in a self-described synopsis twist, does talking heads a la Modern Family and The Office. The next show is The Second Fattest Housewife in Westport, starring Katie Mixon, Diedrich Bader, and Ali Wong. Mixon narrates the series as she tries to raise her issue-prone family in a perfect town. The third show is called Speechless and stars Minnie Driver, John Ross Bowie, and Cedric Yarborough. It follows the family of a special needs child who is gifted at facing all the challenges that life gives him. And the final show is an untitled series from the Goldbergs creator Adam Goldberg and David Garaccio that was shopped as Imaginary Mary. It follows Jenna Elfman after she meets the man of her dreams, who is a divorced father of 3 kids. This stress makes her conjure up her old imaginary friend, who is voiced by Rachel Dretch from childhood. There were a plethora of pilots shopped to the network but weren't picked up. These include Dream Team, a soccer show starring Justin Long and Wanda Sykes, an untitled show from Ed Weeks, and Hannah McKay about a lesbian and her best friend who's a male. Toast is a series that takes place in flashbacks as characters tell stories at rehearsal dinner. Square Roots is a show about an engineer who tries to help people. The Fluffy Shop is a semi-autobiographical show starring Gabriel Iglesias. And Chunk and Bean is a show that featured TV's Andy Daly. 2 shows, Hail Mary featuring Casey Wilson and Retta, and Pearl starring Candace Bergen and Zachary Knighton, were initially passed over but are currently being redeveloped. Tough luck, pilots. Maybe next year. Next up, the biggest network, CBS, arguably had the best year in terms of ratings, but the ex-home for Supergirl is going to bolster its comedy offerings with another show from prior CBS star Kevin James. It's titled Kevin from Work and has the bumbling comedian as an officer retiring after 20 years only to realize he doesn't like the civil life. And hey, Aaron Hayes is his wife. The network also ordered The Great Indoors with Joel McHale, Stephen Fry, and Christopher Mintz-Plasse about a reporter trying to teach millennials how to work. Along with that, the only other new show is Man with a Plan with Matt LeBlanc. Every comedy save for Mike and Molly was renewed, including Life in Pieces, Mom, Two Broke Girls, and ratings juggernaut Big Bang Theory. Passed over pilots include long-distance relationship show My Time, Your Time with Jane Levy and Nicholas Braun, and What Goes Around Comes Around with Jason Lee and Alyssa Milano. Unknown pilot statuses as of this week include The Kicker, a show about a pro NFL player cut from his team and features David Spade and JB Smoove, and Real Good People coming from the mind of Stephanie Weir. 2 pilots as of yesterday, including Superior Donuts, a show with Brian Darcy James and Jermaine Fowler, and Firstborn with the likes of Katie Seagal and John Carroll Lynch, are being reworked right now and are aiming for a mid-season premiere. Fox was probably the most ruthless of every network out there, as it gave the axe to a few shows. Grandfathered and The Grinder were placed on the fence for a few months and then pushed to the cancellation side. That Cooper Barrett show and the million Seth MacFarlane cartoon Border Town weren't even given second thoughts. We can safely admit the latter two were dismal attempts at television. As for pilots, something called The Enforcers, starring Niecy Nash and Christine Woods as female police officers, was dropped, and a similar fate fell over an untitled Laura Steinel Human Resources series that had the star power of Judy Greer, Patton Oswalt, John Daly, and Milana Weintraub. But while Fox took away the life of these shows, they also gave birth to new pilots, including The Mick, starring Always Sunny co-star Caitlin Olsen, aka Bird Girl, as the titular character who takes in her nieces and nephews in order to inherit millions. That show is joined by Making History, a time-traveling show featuring Adam Pally and Leighton Meester. Hey, at least someone from Happy Endings is winning pilot season. And a show from Clone High and Lego Movie guys Christopher Miller and Phil Lord called Son of Zorn will air during what used to be Animation Domination. It's got a mix of 2D animation and real-worldness and features the voice of Jason Sudeikis and real-life body of Cheryl Hines. Another notable pilot from Nassim Pedrad was pushed off cycle, meaning that it's not exactly picked up, nor is it entirely dropped or even being redeveloped. The show is called Chad, an American Boy, and will shoot in May with a mid-season premiere in mind. And now, the final Big Four network, NBC. While The Carmichael Show snatched a third season renewal at the last second, freshman series Crowded did not. The Peacock did happen to pick up about 6 new series, including a DC Comics The Office-style show called Powerless that features powerless superheroes at their day job. The show stars Danny Pudi, Vanessa Hudgens, and more. Another show called Trial and Error features John Lithgow and Sherry Shepard and is kind of like The Grinder except with the real murder. Then there's a Marlon Wayans show called Marlon, The Good Place, a straight-to-series show with Kristen Bell and Ted Danson, and a Tracy Wakefield venture dubbed Great News that is about a mother-daughter relationship and features Andrea Martin and Horatio Sands. Alright, let's get through these canceled pilots. First, Crunch Time with Craig Ferguson and a sitcom game show hybrid. Good Fortune, a show about a girl taking advice from a fortune teller. The Sebastian Maniscalco and Tony Danza led Sebastian. The Amy Poehler Paper Kites produced Dumb Prince, a show about a guy returning home to claim the family throne. Grand Junction from writer Matt Hubbard and starring Jack McBrayer. And The Bronx Life, the show about Dominican immigrants. Phew. Alright, then there are 2 pilots whose lives hang in the ether. They're part of NBC's open playground comedy thing they do every year. We're unsure if Sunset People and Imaginary Friend are going to be on television or not. The latter one may never see the light of day since Adam Goldberg already locked up the Imaginary Friend sitcom market. And that's it for this video. In the next one, we will check out what the heck's going on in the cable arena right over there. Of course, if you like this video, you can always subscribe and check out one of our other videos. You can always head to the website cpluscomedy.com where we got the latest news, reviews, features, interviews, and other good comedy tidbits that only I can provide you with. You can always follow us on Twitter at cpluscomedy, follow me on Twitter at ChadBlackWhite, like us on Facebook, tumble with us on Tumblr, and until next time, say something funny, Chad. Why would I write that? Okay.